Well, it gets that beautiful blue color from this beautiful blue mineral right here. This is what we call calcite, or blue calcite. Now, it's a very fine mineral that can be ground up into a white powder that we call rock flour. Now, all of that rock flour is sitting in the lake, and what happens is when sunlight hits it, an optical illusion happens, where all the wavelengths of light go in, but what refracts back into our eyes are the shortest wavelengths of light. And the shortest wavelengths of light are blue and green. Yeah, exactly. So, on a particularly sunny day, we can see how blue and green this lake can look. Especially on the right-hand side, you can see how green it's starting to look as well. Now, the reason why Lake Louise has that really deep, beautiful blue color to it specifically is because it is a fully glacially fed lake from the Victoria Glacier. So that glacier is constantly melting against the mountain and feeding all of this rock flour into the lake. In fact, there's such a high concentration of calcite in Lake Louise, if you're going to take a clear cup and gather some water from it, it'll almost look like milk from the amount of sediment that is in that water. Whereas if you were to gather water from here, because it's a lot more dispersed, it will look a lot more clear, for sure. Okay, so we've got a good group here today. You asked me a lot of questions, so we're going to play a little bit of a game now so you don't get to your board. You're on a game show. Congratulations, everybody. You may win a prize. Who knows? So all I need you to do first is just look out at the right-hand side of the vessel. Now, I know you're all on vacation, but just take a second and analyze the surroundings of that shoreline over there. That's what we call our south shoreline. And then, once you've got a good enough look, turn your attention 180 degrees and look out the left-hand side of the vessel at this shoreline over here. If that's our south shore, what do you think this one is called? North Shore. Yeah, exactly. So take a second, analyze the surroundings of the North Shore over there. Now, the game is when I count to 3, I want all of you to point to what side you think is healthier and hosts 95% of all of our animals. If you choose the South Shore, you're on Captain Kenji's team. If you choose the North Shore, you're on my team. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, you all like Captain Kenji a lot more than me. Okay, I'd say roughly about 80% of you chose his side, and 20% of you chose my side over here. Well, congratulations to every single one of you who picked this side over here. Yeah, you think I put myself on the wrong shoreline? No. So yeah, but I don't blame you if you chose this side over here. Over there, it looks like a very thick, lush, healthy-looking forest, right? So you think that's got to be the healthier shoreline, right? Well, actually, all the trees you see over there are the problem. Why this side is not as healthy. Now, to better understand that, is there anybody here from Alberta by chance? Any local Albertans? Just me, eh? Okay, no worries. So we in Alberta, we have a provincial tree that we call the lodgepole pine tree. And all those trees you see out the right-hand side of the boat, apart from a few outliers, are lodgepole pine trees. Now, look how many of them there are, right? They grow really close together. Maybe no further than this outlet in some areas. So because there's so many of them growing so close together, not a whole lot of sunlight can get through the trees to reach the forest floor. And where no sunlight can reach, no other plant life can start to grow. And if there's no other plant life, then no deer, elk, or sheep are going to be over there. And if there's no deer, elk, or sheep over there, then there's no bobcats, coyotes, or bears to eat those animals. So the South Shore has developed into what we call a monoculture, meaning one species of plant completely dominates an entire ecosystem. Whereas comparatively, if you look out the left-hand side of the vessel, you notice this shoreline is a lot more open and a lot more biodiverse. Again, roughly we're about 95% of all of our wildlife sightings occur. So, this is a wildlife tour. I can't promise you'll see anything here today, but if you were to see an animal, it'll most likely be on this shoreline over here, so keep your eyes peeled. So, normally once I tell people that, 2 questions come to mind. First being, okay Jacob, you just said these 2 shorelines are only about a kilometer apart from each other, so why are there so many more trees over there and not as many over there then? Well, around 40 years ago, these 2 shorelines almost looked the exact same, until something happened over here. What do you think happened over here? Fire, yeah, exactly. Back in the early 80s, Parks Canada wanted to conduct one of their very first attempts at a controlled forest fire. Because we actually learned that a healthy forest should burn roughly every 80 to 100 years. Especially with lodgepole pine trees, when their pine cones are subjected to extreme heat, they will actually open up, and then all the seeds will go out, and then replant themselves in the surrounding area. It's very cool. I'll sit by the campfire late at night and throw pine cones into it and just watch them open up all night. I have a very exciting life if you can't tell. Anyways, Parks, they've never done a controlled burn before. They only wanted to burn 1 square kilometer back near the docks. But since they've never done it before, this controlled fire went severely out of control, and instead of burning 1 square kilometer, they burned 33 square kilometers, almost completely engulfing the entire shoreline in flame. And you can still see evidence from that fire out the left-hand side of the boat. You notice it looks really patchy, right? That's because the fire burnt so hot in those patches that it destroyed the soil. So almost nothing can grow on it anymore. So ever since that day, they had to change the name from controlled fires to prescribed burns. Because I think it's a little embarrassing when your controlled fire goes 32 kilometers out of control, right? Now, the second question I normally get asked about these two shorelines is, okay, you said 95% of the animals live on the North Shore, so what's that mysterious 5% of animals that live on the South Shore? And I'm not talking about this party animal right up here driving the boat. Okay, there's 3 hints, see if you can get it. They love the dark, they walk on 4 legs, and they go, ow. What do you think that is? Wolves, yeah, exactly. They're a pack of about 20 or so wolves that live on this side over here. You know, they are carnivorous. They only eat meat. All the other animals live over here. What exactly do they do? Well, what they end up doing is they send their big, young, strong wolves to sprint 20 kilometers all the way around the valley from this side over here, eat up as much food as they possibly can. They can actually move to 30 pounds of meat in their belly, and then sprint another 20 kilometers all the way back to their family. Now, think critically. If you eat 30 pounds worth of food and sprint 20 kilometers without stopping, what's going to happen? You're going to feed your family, right? Delicious. So, kids, be grateful your parents are never wolves because that is disgusting. That is vile. Okay. Any questions or concerns about that? All good. Okay. And I'm going to ask all of you a question now. This is very easy to hurry. What lake are we traveling on right now? Minnewanka. Good. You know where you are. Fantastic. Yesterday I had someone raise their hand in confidence and say Lake Louise. So thank you for saying Minnewanka. I appreciate that. Now, it's kind of a funny name, right? That's because it's not a business word. Minnewanka is actually 2 Sioux words from the Sioux language, which is what the Stoney Nakoda First Nation spoke. They're the ones to give the lake its name, Minnewanka. Now, here's a bit of a tougher question. Do any of you know what Minnewanka translates to?
No.
Okay, that's okay. I'll come back to that. I know. Do I have any American friends on board here today by chance? Okay, a few of you? Nice, okay. So you may all be able to help me answer this, but when I say Minnewanka, there's a certain state that sounds very similar to it. Minnesota. Yeah, exactly. Are any of you from Minnesota by chance? No? Okay. Do any of you happen to know what the state slogan of Minnesota is? Yeah, the land of 10,000 lakes, exactly. So, the reason why I bring that up is because Minnesota and Minnewanka, that's no coincidence that they sound the same. That's because they're from the same Sioux dialect, from the Lakota and Lakota nations. So, Minnesota is 2 Sioux words, Minne and Sota. Minne is the Sioux language, means water, and Sota, many. So, many waters loosely translates to land of 10,000 lakes. There's also a really big lake in Minnesota. It's gigantic. They call it Minnetonka. Minne, again, meaning water. What do we think Tonka means if it's a big lake? Big, huge lake. Yeah, exactly. We're in Minneapolis. Why not? Minne, again, meaning water. Apolis, it's Greek, but it means city. So city by the water. Do you see a pattern forming here? Yes, we can go back to Minnewanka. Minne, do you remember what that means? Water, good. And Wanka, believe it or not, means chocolate factory. No, it doesn't. Oh, wow, bad joke. Yeah, no, it's all right. No, it means spirits. So this is the Lake of Water Spirits. Now, I know when you think of a spirit, you may be thinking of a ghost or a ghoul, or even the tattoo on my arm, but that's not what they're talking about when they mean spirits. They mean energy in nature. So water splashed in front of the boat, wind blowing through the valley, fires burning on the shoreline. Even these mountains themselves they consider to be quite spirited. Now, the most common spirit they're referring to here, however, is the wind and waves